Hey, Central Illinois professionals, do you know where people go to learn more about you? They typically either go to your About Us section of your website or your LinkedIn profile. And guess what the first impression is that they see? That's right, it is your professional headshot. Your headshot is part of your brand. Your brand should proudly show the world how passionate you are about delivering quality products and services to your customers. At Studio 21, you won't get the boring old headshots that everyone else has. When you get photos with Melissa Hardin at Studio 21, your headshots will show off your strength, confidence, and approachability. To book a professional headshot appointment for you and your team, call Melissa at 217-962-0048 or visit www.melissamharden.com. That's MELISSAMHARDEN.com. And let Melissa at Studio 21 help you stand out from the crowd.
Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu's a delicious grapefruit or wildberry vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at ZambuLiquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois, today's guests are here from Agility Technologies, headquartered in Springfield, Illinois. Ladies and gents of Central Illinois, please welcome Cory, Taylor, and Dalton Minder. I completely messed that up.
Minder. Oh, my.
Minder. I should have asked before we started recording, but no. Hey, our guests like the authenticity, so we're not going to edit that out. So Dalton Minder and Cory Taylor are with us from Agility Technologies. So how are you guys doing?
Great. It's nice and hot out today.
Yes, it is.
There you go. Well, with the sitting on a beach, anybody could, agree that it's probably warm where you're at, Cory.
Oh, yeah. I wish.
Awesome. Well, what we'll do, guys, is before we get started, I'm going to ask you a couple of our icebreaker questions. And I'll ask each of you, and then Garrett sometimes will respond to, so we can hear his answer. But then after that, we'll get into it. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right, Cory, I'm going to start with you. First icebreaker question.
I'm nervous.
If I were to pay for you to move anywhere and buy you a house to live in that place, wherever it is in the world, I'm picking up the bill and I'm paying for it. Where would you move to?
Orange Beach, Alabama.
Orange Beach, Alabama. Is that your favorite place to go?
It's a nice vacation spot. Yes.
There we
Gotcha.
go. There we go. Dalton, what do you think?
I can't believe he didn't say Louisiana. He always talks up Louisiana every time I'm talking to him about that stuff. Oh man, I go anywhere in the world. I'll tell you what, I would probably go, man, anywhere down south. Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Florida. Those are my four that I want to go to someday.
There you go.
Anywhere down there, man.
I like it. Garrett, what are your thoughts?
Florida, comes to the top of mind, but really, I would probably have to say like Tennessee, maybe. I feel like the weather's not too bad there. It's probably not as hot as what it would be all year in Florida. There's plenty of things to do in the Tennessee area as far as that. So I think I'd probably just say in Tennessee.
There we go. I like Destin, Florida. We're actually getting ready to leave. At the time this podcast is released, I am probably in Destin, Florida. So I just like it. I'm sure the people who actually live there hate the tourists, but it's just the harbor walk, like the fishing boats and all that type of stuff. I love that atmosphere of going and grabbing a ice cold Yingling at Margaritaville, watching the fishing boats come in.
There you go.
That's my thing. So, all right. Second question, Dalton. I'm going to ask you first. Okay.
All right.
So Dalton, if you could be any animal, what animal would you be and why?
Oh, I'd be a dolphin, 100% a dolphin.
There we go.
I love dolphins. I'm a Miami Dolphin fan too, so
Okay.
it just works out. But man, they're incredible to watch out in the ocean.
Awesome. Cory, what are your thoughts?
Well, since we're going to go that way, Dalton, I'm going to be a shark and I'm going to eat you.
Oh, nice. Garrett, what animal are you?
Well, I
We've
think
asked
we've had
one of you
this
before.
question,
Yeah.
similar question in the past. I'd probably say a lion. I think I've said that one in the past before. I just kind of, in certain things, I like to kind of be the guy in charge. Lions aren't scared of anything. They're not the fastest. They're not necessarily the strongest, but they take charge and lead the pack. So I'll go with a lion.
There we go. Well, my favorite animal to watch is white-tailed deer. I don't know that I'd want to be one because I
Yeah, you're going to
know
shoot yourself.
exactly. But I was thinking of this. It'd be nice to be a nice house dog in a nice cooled home where I'm taken care of. So like you don't have to do anything. You just have a nice warm place to sleep at night, a cool house, and people feed you.
And the
So
lion's gonna come for you.
yeah,
That's
exactly,
right.
exactly. All right. Well, Cory, here's our last question. I'll ask you first, Cory. What do you feel has been the biggest key to Agility Technologies' success?
I would say probably one of the biggest key components to our success is listening to customers' needs and being responsive and taking care of them.
Awesome. Very good answer.
Nice.
Dalton, what would you say is a key to your business success?
Man, I haven't been here, long. I've been here for about 3 months, but I can already see, and I knew it from day one that it really is the customer care. I mean, every single time I go to a meeting with Cory, it's nothing but great feedback from all of our current clients, and then anyone that comes to him, he'll drop anything and everything and make sure they're taken care of first and foremost.
Awesome. Very nice. Very nice. Garrett, what do you say?
Gosh, I mean, I don't want to piggyback off their answers, but I think the key to my success in the insurance world is very similar to theirs. I mean, in insurance, we all offer a similar policy. Pricing is typically pretty similar to everybody as far as that goes, but the customer comes first, and helping them diagnose maybe problems that they're not getting solved with, their current, advisor, maybe as far as that, listening to their needs and helping solve those solutions for them, I think is what has helped me and my keys to success in what I do.
Yeah. I would say, like you said, how many insurance agents are there out there? Yeah, if you could probably go down the street where your business is and count maybe multiple hands, you need to count all of them. So we're selling similar products, but how are we doing it differently? Well, I can tell you one thing we're doing differently is the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. So just finding
Absolutely.
ways to be unique and provide exceptional customer service at the same time. But how do you stand out compared to your competitors? What do you do differently? And I have a feeling that Cory and Dalton are about to tell us a little bit about agility and how they stand out. So
Absolutely.
perfect segue, guys. Whoever wants to go first, tell us your story, your business story. Start from as far back as you want. Just bring us up to speed with what you got going on today and anything in between you want to share.
Yeah. So, started my wife and I started the company in 2008. I've got a background in telecommunications, goes back to 1996. Worked for Cellular One, selling cell phones during college, and
Cool.
went to work for an alarm company, and then ended up owning an ISP and some Sprint Nextel stores, and then later started Agility. And
Awesome.
we started in 2008, and so structured cabling was part of my background, and so we did my wife and I actually did a lot of subcontract work when we started the company, and found ourselves traveling all over the Midwest. Did work for United Bank of Switzerland, for the old Toys R Us and Babies R Us, and they really kind of kept us busy in the early days. But
Cool.
later we progressed and started offering our own phone service, because we put phone systems in, and we were displeased with how some of the carriers were taking care of, or lack of taking care of, their customers when it came to phone service, right? We put a new phone system in, we hook them up to a phone service provider, and just lack of service. So in 2012, I was like, I can do this better. And we actually became our own voice over IP provider. Spent quite a bit of money, bought a Porta One switch, so we've actually are the provider.
Wow.
And to this day, we are, that's a big that's a big part of our business. So, we're a managed IT service provider. We talk a lot about cybersecurity. If you follow us on social media, you'll see we're constantly talking about cybersecurity, password hygiene, and just protecting, helping educate businesses and business owners on how to protect themselves against the vulnerabilities that are out there in today's threat landscape, because it's a big thing. And I would say that's probably a very big part of our business. So managed IT, we have a network operations center, we have a help desk, we have a security operations team. So all those things that kind of make up our managed IT offering to our clients that include cybersecurity, as well as compliance and other things of that nature. To the side of that, we also have a field services side to our business. So we actually have a field services team that goes out in the field and works on client systems. In anything that requires a truck roll to a client site, we're out there and we're doing. And so that's everything from putting phone systems in, to camera systems and card access systems and things like that. So we can also help our clients with their physical security as well. But again, I take it all back to the same thing of taking care of the customer, listening to their needs. I don't come in with an agenda, right? Because that's not taking care of the customer's needs. We come in, we listen to what the customer's needs are, and we develop a solution for what their needs are and deliver.
Awesome.
Nice.
Very good.
I will have to say, on your social media side, the videos of Dalton on there with like the head on a different body, those are pretty good. They're funny. I've been scrolling through
and
those.
every once in a while he takes my head and sticks them on there.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Yes, I like it.
And here lately, he just doesn't tell me about him. He just pushes them and says, "Well, just go check it out." And I did check one out a couple Fridays ago, and my phone went ding, and it was like Friday evening, and I'm like, "Oh, that's what I'm doing this Friday."
Well, looks good. I like it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you said a word there that I thought was unique. So, and I think every individual, not even just business owner or business leader, every person who logs into a computer or software service, whatever it happens to be, has a password, and they probably aren't as diligent with the passwords. And you used a unique term, password hygiene. So maybe you can share with us, for all those people listening, some password hygiene tips to help keep their computer system and system just basically more secure as far as passwords go.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm about to fail this test. I can guarantee.
Complexity is a big part of that, right? So having a password that is complex, that means you've got a minimum set number of characters, ideally, really 14 or more characters. And everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I can't remember that. Well, you shouldn't remember your password. If you can remember your password, that makes it convenient for you, and it makes it easy for compromise. So using a password manager such as Keeper Security, which is a product that we use and we also push out to our managed service customers, and we talk a lot about. It's a product I've personally used for over 10 years and just absolutely just love it, because with that, I'm able to generate my secure password. I don't have to remember it. And I can literally point, I can paste and click, and I copy and paste it into the fields I need to go into. And they've got other browser extensions for on your computer, but it's got a great app on the phone. It's everything. And so that is key, having a solid, whether it's Keeper or it's some other password manager. Everybody should be using a password manager today, because it's gonna ensure the complexity of your passwords. Using alphanumeric characters, special characters, upper, lowercase, numbers, all that, and a minimum set. The other piece to that is if you're using the same set of 6 different passwords, and you just rotate them, you're just asking for trouble, because those credentials are more than likely on the dark web, and so you're going to get compromised. Easiest way to put it. If you're using, most people who are not doing the password hygiene, they probably have the same password for their bank account logins as they do their email account logins and other things like that, or some variations too. And so that's where trouble comes in. And so I can't talk enough about password hygiene. It's just critical. And then with that is MFA, multi-factor authentication.
Yep.
Multi-factor authentication, which, I mean, it's becoming more and more prevalent with almost every system today, is, you're getting a one-time code via text message, or you're getting a code generated from an app, an authenticator app of some sort, which Password Keeper will do. Will generate your MFA codes for you as well. So you have one tool to give you your passwords, create your passwords, store them, and give you the MFA. But if you're not using MFA on your accounts today, you need to turn them on. I tell everybody that as well. That's an additional layer of security, because it ensures that you are the person who's trying to log in to that account.
Yeah.
Not a bad actor.
Yeah. Awesome. Yep. So I was kind of laughing when you were saying some of that stuff. We had a guy that used to work in our office. This has been years ago, but the entire office knew his password. It was one password for everything. And if you couldn't get logged into a system, you say, "Oh, I'm just going to act like this person because I know his password, and we could get into the system," because he never changed it. He would get upset if he had to add a number to it. So I don't know.
And just adding a number or another character to an existing password, I mean, that's still very insecure.
Right. Exactly. So it's funny because you say that, and I'm thinking back to, well, everybody could use that guy's password. If we couldn't get it, if we forgot our password or something, or like, we'll just use his, we can get right in, and you could. So,
and I feel like after this, I'm going to have to go through and change every single password. So,
yeah, I know.
Well, I will tell you, Password Keeper, you guys should check it out.
I do use that.
I wrote it down. I wrote mine.
You do.
Yeah.
I've got an app on my phone, Keeper. Now I use the free version as far as
I was just going to say, there's a free version and there's paid versions. They have an enterprise level version too for organizations. And so just, even the free version is a great product. I mean, that's how I started out with Keeper, was on the free version when it first came out. And out of all of, and knock on wood here, right? Because compromise, cybersecurity and compromise and all that, it's not a matter of if you're going to get hacked. It's a matter of when. For everybody. I don't care what you're doing. There's going to be an opportunity for compromise. And so it's, reducing those risks by password hygiene and that's just the basics, right? Of what people need to be doing to secure themselves. And as an organization, I wanted to say, you guys are deemed into the financial services, yourself, because you're in the insurance industry. The regulations that are out there and more that's coming is going to tighten things. It's going to force everybody to get compliant, to get secure. And, so I bring that up. I was reading this morning on some stuff about some more compliance things that are coming that our government is pushing out there. And it needs to happen.
Sure.
But some of it will be a little excessive, I think.
Sure. What's up, Central Illinois? You know what you all need? You all need some CIBL podcast swag. And thanks to our newest sponsor, Jedco Sales, you can now find our swag at CIBLmerch.com. You can find t-shirts, sweatshirts, polos, hats, and more, all classically adorned with our famous CIBL podcast logo. If you want to represent and support your favorite podcast, check out CIBLmerch.com. That's CIBLmerch.com. If you like our store, you can also build your very own business swag store with the help of Jedco Sales in Effingham, Illinois. Jedco is owned by previous CIBL guests, Andrew and Laren Dial. They've set up a special discount offer for CIBL guests and listeners to set up your very own custom branded swag store. You can now offer branded apparel to your employees, customers, and fans, and Jedco will fulfill all the orders for you. contact Jedco at sales@jedcosales.com. That's sales@jedco sales.com, and tell them that Garrett and Derek sent you. Let Jedco help you get noticed. Well, you mentioned in your intro and kind of introduction to the business, you started with some phone related services. So managed voice services is one of the things you offer currently. Tell us a little bit. We're switching gears a little bit, but tell us a little bit about that and how it works.
Yeah. So managed voice. So, used to be back in the day, we would go out and we'd work on phone systems that were, old legacy systems, that were on-prem, and a via partner system, multi-line system with POTS lines, right? Plain old telephone service lines from the phone company, copper lines. That's all going away. I can't think the last time I personally touched one of those. It's been that long. So we offer voice over IP business telephone service, and just to be transparent on what it is, it's no different than what Comcast offers or anybody else. Your cell phone call today is an IP phone call, right? Because it is the same thing. It's all SIP. It's a SIP call, and so or an IP call, and so we offer a couple different solutions under that. One is we have what's called hosted voice. It might be a small office of a few users. I mean, my biggest seat customer, I think, is 75. They've got 75 extensions on hosted voice.
Wow.
I mean, I've got hosted voice is a product that's licensed by the seat. So you basically subscribe for every phone and you pay per month per extension on the system.
Okay.
It's a phone system in the cloud, right? So unlimited calling, everything's unlimited. There's no limitations per se.
Okay.
Then we have a product where we're actually hosting a phone system. We sell and service and maintain a system called 3CX. It's a great system, has a lot of bells and whistles, but it's kind of geared more like an on-prem in a way. But we host it in our data center, or we can also put it on-prem for the customer, and we create what's called a SIP trunk back to the customer's phone system from our network, from our voice services network. It's a little different. It has limitations. You subscribe to the number of call paths that you want to be able to get into your phone system. There's no class 5 features. Class 5 features are voicemail, auto attendance, things like that are happening on our side. But that 3CX system is getting those and has all that. So you essentially buy a pipe more or less with concurrent call session licensing for that system. So those are the two products that we have for voice.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I know, like, especially in our industry, call recording is a big thing to make sure that, hey, to prove we said what we said and the customer said what they said. Is that something that's also available through the services that you just mentioned?
Yes.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Dalton, I'm going to kick it your way for a minute here. We don't not include you. So why
I
don't
thought
you
we
tell
were
us?
dropping Dalton off this. No, I'm kidding.
No. I'm just waiting. He's smiling. He's laughing the whole time. I know he's got to have some.
That's
good
all he does
stories
all
here.
day long. He smiles.
Well, that's what you need in a good employee. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Especially in today's business climate, as far as that goes. So, Dalton, tell us a little bit about your story. I know you said you hadn't been with Agility too long as far as that. So go back as far as you want. Tell us what your role is at Agility and just take it from there.
Yeah, no. So I've been with Agility a little over 3 months now, and just graduated college this last year, and Cory took a chance on me straight out of college, which I'm.
Wait a minute, you went to college? You didn't tell me that.
Which I'm super grateful for, and I came into it, and I never thought I'd ever work at like an IT place for sure. I mean, I get I'm tech savvy. I'm a kid, so I gotta understand the current state of the world, but I never thought that was the case. And even at a couple other places I worked, the IT people are always like, you don't want to talk to them. They're the bad guys. They want you to have password hygiene and fix this and fix that. And so you're always like, whatever. But man, like what I got here, it's so fun. And I really mean it. And I tell everyone, like, we're not the big bad guys. And that was one of the things coming in. So he hired me for marketing and inside sales. I told him, I was like, we need to portray ourselves differently than everyone else. Like you were talking about earlier, being an insurance agent, what makes you different than all
Sure.
the other people? Because you're offered the same thing. It's kind of the same regards to every industry. And whenever you go around, you look at all the different IT companies, what they're pushing out to people on, like, let's say social media, what they're sending out in flyers. It's the same old boring stuff. It's
Yep.
a lock that's floating on a little cloud and it says it's secure. Read
Yep.
this 2-minute article. And I told Cory, I was like, that's like they got to see us. There's sometimes that you go to a page, you don't even see a person. You can
Correct.
scroll back for years and it's just article about
Mhm.
get secure, you're going to get hacked, all your money's going to be gone. And so I was like, we need to fix that. And, you mentioned it earlier, like those videos,
Yeah.
that's just to show that, like we're fun people and like there's better ways to get our messages across. Because like one I just put out last Friday was like a guy punching his computer, and I put when you don't remember your password, because there have been times where I forget my passwords and I'm pissed off at my computer or whatnot, and that's just the way it is.
Literally, I hear him beat on the wall.
And so like that's kind of what we were getting at, or what I was getting at when I came on board was, it's going to be outside the industry norm. I mean,
Yeah.
no one else is going to be doing this, but that's a good thing. Like, it's
Absolutely.
good to take risks. And, the worst that's going to happen is it flops and you just go on from there. You find something else that works. But we've gotten nothing but positive feedback. And people are like, we never thought we would see something like this out of a company like what you guys have. And that's what we were going for all along. So what makes us different, when people see that, they think agility technology. Like every time they see a funny video like that, they're going to think about us in the
Absolutely.
back of their mind. And that's really what we were going for. But man, other than that fun, stuff you see on social media and all those graphics, we've been doing stuff in the background, like, grab it real quick. Like we made this cyber security, like essentials booklet. It's 53 pages, I think. And it's nothing but good information about cybersecurity and how to make sure that you're secure. And, like we were talking about password hygienes and just securing everything, because security is the biggest thing nowadays.
Sure.
Anyone can get hacked. And, we never try to sell on fear or give fear out there. But like the numbers don't lie. Whenever I post some of these numbers, I'm like, it's scary that last year it was like $36 billion were stolen from small businesses for ransomware and things.
Well,
like
look at the now this is public knowledge, so we can talk about it. HSHS breach.
Yeah.
They
For sure.
hospital sisters health systems got breached last year.
Yeah.
That I mean that was massive, and that's one of many. One of many.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear about it even in the insurance industry. Obviously, cyber insurance is something we deal with, and
Right.
we even see it with even smaller businesses, like your 2, 3, 4 employee shops that a breach to them is
put them out of
crippling.
business.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and it does. The average business usually, within a year they're gone. When they get breached, if they don't have their ducks in a row.
right.
I will say the misconception for small businesses, more so than big, is they think, oh, well, I've got cybersecurity, I don't need anything else. When I say cybersecurity, I mean they think I've got cybersecurity insurance, I don't need anything else.
Sure.
But that's the misconception, because yes, back in the day when insurers started offering cybersecurity risk insurance, yeah, that's it. There was, oh, you got a claim, okay, we'll pay it. They didn't know enough about it. They've paid how much out now over the last 5-6 years? Now there's all kinds of opportunities for exclusion. Well, what do you have for EDR services? What do you have for this? What do you have for that? And if you don't check off every box and you can prove it as the business owner, and you have a claim for cyber risk, they're not going to cover your incident. I mean, that's the risk that's out there. And so business owners don't understand that. They get that misconception. They think, well, I've got it, I'll self-assess myself and sign off that I've done all this, but they maybe don't really realize that actually they're putting themselves out on an opportunity that they're going to be out of business because they
Yeah.
didn't do the things
Yeah.
they needed to do to protect themselves.
And along the same lines, like on the insurance piece of it, they have to go through an application process and they ask, do you have this in place? And companies are not even, whereas they may have just offered it in the past and maybe rated them up a little bit. Now they are not even offering an option like, hey, we're not going to insure you. Like the multi-factor authentication we talked about. If you check no, that you don't do that,
Denied.
most of the cyber carriers say, we don't want you.
Yep.
So it's getting
Yep.
to the point of like it's a must to even get the cyber
Right.
insurance. So
Well, and
hopefully,
if you don't, if people don't realize this now, it's coming. In the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see legislature that's coming out from Congress that's going to mandate that businesses have to implement cybersecurity best practices. And there's already frameworks that are there, like the SAFE Act, that's financial insurers, automotive, banks, they're CPAs, accounting firms, they're all hit by that. And so, but then the pieces that are coming down the pipe, they've kind of got the framework there, but they're going to criminalize it. So if you're not compliant and you have a breach, it will be criminal.
wow.
Yeah.
And it's coming. And I mean, you look at like some of these CISOs from some of these big players, they've, either they trusted that ABC was happening and, trust but verify, right? And they didn't do the things or they just straight up didn't do the things. And they've turned it criminal on them. And so that's what's going to happen in the landscape for small businesses is that the government is going to criminalize when an organization is negligent or fails to secure themselves or do what they're supposed to do regarding all of this. That risk is there, and it's pretty heavy. And they're going to do it to the MSPs. I mean, we'll have it. It'll happen to us before it happens to the businesses. For sure.
So I
already
see
hearing about it.
On your services, managed compliance services is something that you offer. So
Yes.
when that comes down the pipeline, is that something you're able to help business owners with?
Yeah. Yes. So we're able to, we can come in, not just from a compliance piece, but we can come in and do a network assessment and a cybersecurity risk assessment of an organization's network and determine, okay, this is what we found. These are the problems that you have, and here's the steps to remediate and be secure, be compliant. But it's not a one-time fix. It's an ongoing thing, right? We always have to monitor. We always have to run those checks and tests and so forth to make sure that a client's network is secure. And it's also implementing, a secure, in our case, for our clients that are our managed clients, we implement our security stack, which is a multitude of different software applications with some automation behind it, a security operations team that's behind it, and a network operations team that's behind it as well. So that ensures, the whole picture is all in place, which is what's needed for somebody to be secure.
Something like that for like a general assessment for a new client or, a prospect. Is that something that you guys charge a fee for to do an assessment?
It depends. So we do basic assessments at no cost. But, then we have the next step up where we're doing full onboard, we're coming out on site and we're doing a physical audit of the client's network and, scanning everything and looking at, just everything. And then there's the cyber risk assessment along with it. Those there are a charge for because they are very labor intensive.
Sure.
But we can do basic network assessments for clients, and 9 times out of 10, we do the basic. Even just doing the basic network assessment, clients find out, or prospects find out about their network things they didn't even know about that existed.
Yeah. So I know we've barely, touched the surface of what you guys can do. We hit a few of the things. We're actually getting close to our 30-minute mark. Before we jump off of here, Cory and Dalton, share whatever you want, last few pieces of information you'd like to share with Central Illinois. If you can summarize it, I know it's really hard to do, but give you a few minutes here to kind of wrap up some of the stuff that you'd like to share with our listeners.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I would like to say is whether it's Agility or it's another managed service provider, if you don't have an MSP today in your corner, you need to get one.
Mhm.
You need to secure your network. Password hygiene, multi-factor authentication, all of those things, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, really,
Sure.
honestly. And so, reach out to us. We'll be happy to talk to you about a network assessment. That's always the first step to engaging with us is we do a network assessment because 9 times out of 10 clients don't know what they have. They don't know truly what they have on their network. And for us to take that on, we need to know what those risks are, and we need to remediate any issues that are present before we accept the responsibility. Because essentially, we're accepting the liability and responsibility of your network.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep, exactly. Dalton, you got any last words you'd like to share?
No, I mean he hit them all for the most part. I just want to express gratitude to you guys for having us on this podcast, for allowing us to just push this to all your guys' listeners, and that it is real. It is real. There are plenty of people out there who have bad intentions and that want to hack you, want to do these things. I always think it'll never happen to me. And it will happen to you. Even since working here, I've gotten plenty of phishing email scams.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, and how many times do you get attempts of somebody trying to log into your Facebook account? You get a code sent to you. That is a bad actor. Somebody's trying to compromise your social media account.
Yeah.
Happens every day, all the time. Change those passwords and change them regularly.
Yep. The other thing that I would mention is how many letters have everybody has received in the mail saying, "Hey, your information may have been hacked by," you've gotten one of those letters. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
At some point
I
in time.
got one last week from a it was one of the healthcare companies that was back on the back end processing for health insurance. Prescriptions and all that. So that had a compromise just like 2 months ago. So got a letter about that just I think a week or two ago. So,
I got a letter last week. Yeah, I got a letter last week from a third party that I do some stuff with, and it's the same thing. I said, "Hey, you could have been affected by this breach, and here's a, sign up for credit monitoring and all that type of stuff." So it's happening regularly. So you're not immune to it.
Right. And as a small business, if you get compromised and your clients are affected, their PII is affected, you as the business owner, you are responsible for all that remediation for those people who are compromised, which is where cyber risk insurance comes into play.
Yep, absolutely. Well, nice work, guys. Appreciate you being on. For all you loyal listeners, make sure you're subscribing to the CIBL podcast on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, please leave us a review. You can also find us on social media, mainly Facebook and LinkedIn. You can connect with Garrett and I there personally as well. Until next time, Cory, Dalton, you've officially been civilized. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.